Are you thinking about moving to Ashburn, Virginia? And you've heard so many things about living here, but you're not quite sure what to believe? Well, in this video, I'm gonna share with you 10 common myths about living in Ashburn, Virginia. Are these common myths true? Are they completely false? Or are they somewhere in the middle? And if you wanna know what those are, stay tuned because we're getting started right now. Boom! Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor. You know it, as always, it's another beautiful day right here in Northern Virginia. If it's your first time here on my channel, please consider subscribing because every week I release videos what it's like to live, work, play, pros and cons, top neighborhoods, cost of living, basically everything that you need to know about living right here in Northern Virginia. So this video is going to be all about the myths of living here in Ashburn, Virginia. And I hear a lot of these on a daily basis. And I'm really from two sets of people. One is folks who are relocating to Ashburn from another part of the country. I also hear this a lot from locals from other parts of Northern Virginia like Arlington and Fairfax County. So I want to make this video to squash some of these myths about living here in Ashburn, Virginia. And the first myth that I hear basically on a daily basis is Ashburn has way too much traffic. So yes, traffic overall in Northern Virginia, it's horrible. It is literally the worst. Gridlock, it takes you an hour to just drive maybe 15 or 20 miles. However, the exception to that rule is the traffic here in Ashburn is actually not bad at all. Literally during 5 o'clock traffic, I can get from one side of Ashburn all the way to the other side of Ashburn in 15 minutes or less. That's an easy 15-minute drive where you're not driving bumper to bumper. Now, when you leave Ashburn, especially going to Fairfax and Arlington County, you will have a lot of traffic, but a great part about Ashburn is when you're actually in Ashburn, the traffic is very light overall. Now, the next myth I hear a lot is Ashburn is way too expensive. If you're moving here, you probably heard, if I move to Ashburn, I gotta spend like $1 million+ just to get even a decent house that was maybe built in the 90s. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Now, the average sales price here in Ashburn, it is $672,000, and yes, that is very high in the grand scheme of things, but it's kind of right on par with the rest of Northern Virginia. But with that being said, you can get so much value right here in Ashburn for under that average sales price of $672,000. Like me personally, I'm buying a brand new construction house, 3 levels, rooftop terrace, 2,400 square feet, 1-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath for $665,000. That's a great deal, especially being under the average sales price. And it doesn't end just there. I was just looking on our local MLS right now. For sale, there's a townhouse style condo listed at $475,000, 2,600 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, built in 2017. Now that is great bang for your buck for a home right here in Ashburn. Or if you're a first-time home buyer, we have this beautiful community of condos right on the lake, and these go anywhere from between like $300,000 to $325,000 price range. So yes, you can get some great value right here in Ashburn for under that average sales price of $672,000. And speaking of Ashburn, because of this YouTube channel, I get calls, texts, emails basically every single day from folks just like you who are moving to or relocating to Ashburn or anywhere in Northern Virginia. So if you've been thinking about moving to the area, reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me email. I got your back when you're moving to Northern Virginia. Now, the next myth that I hear a lot is you can't live in Ashburn and work in DC. And this is completely false. I know a lot of people who live in this area and work in DC. In fact, my own wife does it. Now, a lot has changed since the pandemic started. Traffic is way less than what it was prior. And not to mention, a lot of people get to work from home. So a lot of the people who actually do have to commute from Ashburn to DC only have to do it once, twice, maybe 3 times at the most. And my wife, for example, she has to go in there once or twice a week. It takes about an hour to get there, an hour back. And not to mention, soon to open would be the Ashburn Metro, and that'll definitely make traveling from Ashburn to DC that much easier. Now, another common myth is Ashburn is full of chain restaurants. Yeah, this is kind of true. I'll probably say 90% of the restaurants you're going to find in Ashburn, they will be your national chain brands, so that part's kind of a bummer. However, we still do have some great local restaurants. Some of my favorites are Greek Unique, where they specialize in Greek fusion, which is like a twist on Greek food. My favorite Mexican restaurants, Parrando's. I go there all the time. Fajitas are the best. We have a high-end steakhouse called DC Prime. That's where I actually go personally for like my celebration dinners. So those are only 3 examples. We have a few more, but Ashburn does not have the most like local restaurants. However, if you really enjoy local cuisines and like mom and pop restaurants, you can go to Leesburg. There's a ton of local restaurants there, or going to like Arlington, Alexandria, or even Washington, DC. You get a lot more mom and pop restaurants. Now, the next myth I hear a lot is Ashburn's only for families, and that's definitely not true. Now, yes, a ton of families live here in Ashburn, great place to raise a family, but it's also a great place to live if you're a young professional, just kind of getting your career started, or you're single, you're looking to meet that right person. Well, we have downtown One Loudoun. It's a great place to go for happy hour, meet friends. We got cool condos right around One Loudoun. You can either rent them or own them. Now, I will say this, we may not have as many like single young professionals here in Ashburn as compared to maybe Reston Town Center or Arlington or Alexandria, because those places are going to have more of a nightlife than we do have here in Ashburn. But it's still a great place to live if you're a young single professional. Now, the next myth I hear a lot is homeowners association dues are not worth the price. Now, will help a lot of folks relocate to the area from other parts of the country, and they'll come from areas where they have no HOA to pay for, or they maybe have a very small one that's like maybe $5 or $10 a month. However, here in Ashburn, basically 100% of neighborhoods will have an HOA fee anywhere from $100 to as high as $400 a month. Now, a lot of these neighborhoods, you actually get a lot to show for your money. Great amenities like indoor pools, outdoor pools, fitness centers, walking trails, lakes you can fish at. Some of these HOAs will even cover your cable and internet. So when people tell me these HOA deals are not worth it, yes, if you never used any of the amenities, it may not be worth it. But if you actually use these amenities, it's 1000% worth the dues. In fact, before I moved into my current neighborhood in Ashburn, I used to pay $100 a month for my gym membership. But my new neighborhood here in Ashburn, they have a gym, which is part of the HOA. So I got to cancel my gym membership, paying $100 a month. And my HOA here is $98 a month. So it is literally a wash plus all the extra amenities that I get access to. The next common myth is all the homes in Ashburn are brand new. Now, I wish this was true, but it's not. I will say this though, they're definitely a lot newer here in Ashburn compared to other parts of Northern Virginia, especially like Fairfax County and Arlington County. In fact, interesting stat is 90% of the homes here in Ashburn were built after the year 1990. Now, if you look at Arlington County, only 21% of the homes were built after 1990. So here in Ashburn, you're not going to find anything built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s, or even the early 80s. But with that being said, not all the homes here are brand new. I know I talked to a lot of folks on the phone and they all think everything was built after 2010. Just simply not the case. In fact, a lot of the homes were built in the early, mid, late 90s. So keep that in mind. Still way better buying a house built in 1995 compared to 1945. But all the homes here in Ashburn are not brand new. The next myth I hear a lot is the home prices will skyrocket when the Ashburn Metro opens. Now, I do not believe this to be true at all. Prices are skyrocketing on their own because of supply and demand. I don't think the Metro is going to have much of a factor to do with that. And not to mention, we actually went through this situation like 6-7 years ago when the Reston Wheelie Metro opened, and there was not a big uptick in home prices with homes that were by the Reston Metro. And I think we're going to see something very similar here when the Metro opens here in Ashburn. And not to mention, the majority of the homes that are walking distance to the new Metro, they're either A, brand new construction, which are extremely expensive anyway, or they're luxury townhomes that were built in the past few years. So all those homes are expensive anyway, and I just don't see their values shooting up in value when the Ashburn Metro finally opens. I think the Metro is going to be like the cherry on top of a cake. It's not the icing, it's not the actual cake, it's going to be the cherry on top. You know, the myth I hear a lot is data centers are everywhere in Ashburn, and this is not true. Now, yes, there's a lot of data centers, and if you don't know what data centers are, they're these huge buildings that hold computer systems. And in fact, you may not know this, but 70% of the world's internet actually goes through the data centers in Ashburn. Now, there are a lot of them, but they're not all over the place. In fact, I would say the majority of the data centers are within a square mile radius, and there really isn't any residential properties by there. So it really doesn't affect your life really negatively or positively having all these data centers around. So yes, there's a lot of them in Ashburn, but they're not like in every neighborhood. Now, the next myth I hear a lot is everybody in Ashburn is rich. Now, this actually comes from 2 sources. One is a lot of locals here in Northern Virginia, especially like Arlington, Fairfax County, they call Ashburn CASHBURN. Not quite sure where that name came from, but it's kind of funny. And another source that comes from is when people are moving here from other parts of the country, they see the home prices here in Ashburn. As I mentioned earlier in the video, average sales price is $670,000. So everybody assumes you have to be rich to live here. Also, Forbes came out last year with the top richest counties in the United States, and Loudoun County, where Ashburn is located, came in at #1 with a household income of $143,000. Now that is a big time income for a household family, but that's just the medium. That shows you there's a lot of families make a lot less than $143,000 a year. And I know a lot of people here in Ashburn, they work in the restaurant business, retail, handyman work, and they're not rich by any stretch of the imagination. So that shows you, yes, this area is very affluent, very educated, but not everybody is rich. And if you want to learn more about living right here in Ashburn, Virginia, check out this playlist right here. I have over 20 videos in this playlist, which will teach you everything that you need to know about living or moving to Ashburn, Virginia. And I'll see you on the next video.